Hello, you are watching WMCM's The Screening Room. I am Kyle Willms, and I am joined by Kayla Lambert and Ty Bjornson. Today our theme is zombies. Since Halloween is right around the corner this week, we're going to talk about our favorite zombie movies. And we're going to start that out with one of my newest favorite zombie movies, and that is World War Z. It's a 2013 film starring Brad Pitt as Gary Lane, a former UN inspector. And he is co-starred by Mireille Enos as Carrie Lane, which is Jerry's wife. The film starts out with Gary in his kitchen doing some family stuff, and there's some sort of scenes on the television kind of alluding to some sort of chaos breaking out in the world. It takes place in present day, so it kind of raises pulses. So with that said, let's show you the preview.
What we do know is when the aircraft touched down...
Yeah, are these the roots?
What is it?
Statue of Liberty or snowman?
A blackout and declared martial law.
Daddy, what's martial law? I'm scared.
How do we know they're coming?
They're coming. Ready? It's the same worldwide. Is anyone doing better than we are?
We've lost the East Coast. Moscow's still dark. Life as we know it will come to an end in 90 days. It's on us to change that.
I can't leave my family.
Don't pretend your family is exempt when we talk about the end of humanity.
I don't want to leave you, but I have to go.
I'll keep our kids safe.
There's a memo sent from this installation.
Pretty obvious nobody back home bothered to read it.
If I could get into Russia, where would I start?
Russia's a black hole.
I need answers.
Guns are half measure,
You with the CIA?
but they're not with me.
Current.
Is there anything left out there?
If we knew where this thing started, then maybe we could kill it.
I think these things have a weakness.
Every human being we save is one less to fight.
Let me tell you, Bradley Pitt nailed it on this movie. I don't know if you guys have seen Between Two Ferns with Zach Galifianakis, but he recently had an interview with Brad Pitt and called him Bradley Pitt. Pretty funny. If you get the opportunity, go to funnyordie.com, and pretty funny interview, worth watching.
Check it out.
But I have to say, when I first saw the trailer for this movie, I was blown away. You got Brad Pitt and you got zombies. What better combination than that?
I agree. I really liked the shot. It was nice seeing a zombie film in HD. It was really nice and detailed, and the special effects were great. The shown at the end of the trailer, actually, the airplane scene.
The airplane scene.
I thought that was pretty neat. I've never seen zombies on an airplane per se. I can't say I would throw a grenade, but
Yeah, well,
You know.
if you got to be resourceful, sometimes you have to throw a grenade on an airplane. So, but you know, as far as budget goes, it was a $190 million film.
Right.
It grossed $350 million in the theaters. So, I mean, this is a big dog here.
Well, that's what I was thinking when I watched it. I mean, I was thinking about the George A. Romero, Dawn of the Dead, Return of the Dead movies from the 1960s and the 70s, where it was low budget, and you know, it was pretty much a guy with a black and white camera with a bunch of friends in an abandoned farmhouse, and that kind of premise, and the zombies and the darkness, you know, that's what you had. And it was a lot of imagination, and the thrills and the scares were from what's outside behind the curtain. Here you have a $190 million budget, and when you're watching it, it's like watching a comic book come to life. I mean, you have, you know, the scenes in D.C., you have the aircraft carrier, you have the special effects, you have that wall in Jerusalem, and it was just staggering to see what started off as kind of a farmhouse premise back in 1968 with George A. Romero, now overblown and just done up, you know, and ready to serve. I mean, with A-list cast and everything. I was just blown away.
They really jacked it up about 10 levels on that.
Yeah, high octane.
You know, and they spent so much on the cinematography on it, but unfortunately, I don't think they spent as much money on the plot. So there was some things like cell phones working, you know, after chaos has ensued throughout the cities. And so I know I'm not alone in saying that kind of was unsettling about the movie.
And then didn't the airplane conveniently crash and Brad Pitt still lived?
Yeah, him and the Israeli soldier survived the airplane crash and were able to walk same day to the World Health Organization. So kind of bizarre. You know, you're going to be spending that much money on the film. People are going to be spending that much money to watch it. You know, please don't insult the audience with such a weak plot. But, you know, there was scenes in the movie where they didn't insult the watcher's intelligence.
Right.
You know, on the roof, when Brad gets some blood in his face, he worries that he's infected, so he immediately runs to the edge of the building and stands there. And, you know, they don't explain explicitly why he does that, but we all can understand that he's worried that he'll be infected.
It wasn't a certain amount of seconds, and then
he counted as he stood on the edge. So, you know, I have to give him credit on that.
It was like that, too. I thought when he chopped off that girl's hand, did you see the blood splatter out of that?
Yeah, it was awesome. That's why we watch zombie movies.
Yeah, that was really real.
Some other things that I didn't really like about it was, you know, when he meets up with this like top-notch scientist, and you know, I don't even understand why they put it in the plot. I guess, you know, what he says about nature and stuff like that is pertinent, but as soon as he's getting off the plane, he dies. He's in the movie for literally 2 minutes, and it's done. So, I don't know, that movie's pretty serious. What about a funny one? Can you tell us about?
I think we can. I think we can talk about a funnier one.
Oh, well, we'll talk about a funnier one right after this. We're going to tell you a little something about Perfect Pets.
She's easygoing and affectionate. Meet Peggy, a 5-year-old American Staffordshire Terrier. This is Hocus, a domestic short-haired tabby mix. She's cute, she's fluffy, she's Hocus. Meet Lexi, an adult pit bull terrier. While she loves to play catch and fetch, she'll find herself leaning against you, asking for attention all the time. To find out more about adoption for these pets or others, contact the Cooley Region Humane Society at 781-4014.
And again, the phone number for the Humane Society here in La Crosse is 781-4014. And yes, we talked about having a little bit of a funnier movie, just kind of spice things up or to ease it back a little bit, but of course we're going to stay within the zombie theme. I would like to talk to you about 2004's Shaun of the Dead with Simon Pegg, who more recently was Scotty in the new Star Trek movies, Star Trek and Star Trek Into Darkness. And of course he's a British comedian, and he and his writing partner Nick Frost concocted this off-the-wall homage to the zombie films of yesteryear, but at the same time making a little fun at the same time. And without further ado, here's a clip from Shaun of the Dead.
Ever think modern life is not for you? Do you do the same dead-end job every day?
There's no I in team, but there is an I in pie. There's an I in meat pie. So the anagram of meat is team. I don't know.
Is your love life dying on its feet?
into a wonderful mum.
Oh. Have you ever felt that you're turning into a zombie?
Although no one is prepared to comment, religious groups are calling it Judgment Day.
Crisis.
It is vital that you stay in your homes.
A hero must
And
rise
avoid all contact with the assailants.
from his sofa.
The attackers can be stopped by removing the head or destroying the brain. Look for the head. Purple Rain? No. Sign of the Times? Definitely not. The Batman soundtrack? Throw it.
The biggest zombie comedy in British history is invading America.
I'm coming!
And if you're looking for a man
I'm taking a shortcut before.
with the right moves,
Nice, good vocal work. Let's all try it together, shall we? 1, 2.
the right lines,
The only thing that will redeem mankind is cooperation.
and the right partner,
2 seconds. And hold it there.
don't
Sorry.
call Sean.
Oi!
Sean.
Oh.
Shaun of the Dead.
He's my husband, you know. I still love him. I've still got the ring on my finger.
You go to bed with it?
I can't help but smile when I see that clip. A lot of good stuff going on in Shaun of the Dead, and I think what I really liked about the movie was, here's a story about the everyday man, and this guy's a slacker. I mean, this is a guy that works at an electronics store. He's kind of in a dead-end job. His coworkers don't respect him. He's a nobody. You know, he's got this girlfriend, Liz, and he wants to impress her, but he totally forgets to make a date for their anniversary, and she's always on him about going to the Winchester pub, which is his hangout with his buddies, and he's like, well, how about we do our date at the Winchester? And that doesn't go over so good. So now, here he is presented in a situation where there's a zombie apocalypse, and this is Sean's chance to shine, along with his other slacker friend, who's played by Nick Frost, who's also in Super Fuzz with him, or Hot Fuzz, I'm sorry, Hot Fuzz with him. And this is a movie directed by Edgar Wright, and this is an earlier movie from him. Edgar Wright would gain a little bit further notoriety with Scott Pilgrim versus the World, which is a movie with a lot of kinetic energy, and you can see a lot of that kinetic energy here in Shaun of the Dead in a very early raw form. And what else do I like about the movie? I like that just how they can play on the whole zombie thing. Like, they see a zombie in the background, they're like, what's going on with that guy? Oh, well, we think they're drunk. And then they're like doing bongo drums, and then the zombie's like, and they're like,
Yeah,
and they think it's music.
that's personally why I don't like the movie. I thought it was completely terrible. I guess I'm really not into the whole, like, let's make fun of a movie that's already good, Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah.
And, I mean, when they were trying to throw, like, things, trying to kill, like, the first one that they saw, there was, like, 2 of them outside.
Yep.
And they were, like, throwing things like toasters and other kitchen appliances at their heads, and it was just, like, bouncing off. I'm sorry, I'm a fan of, like, The Walking Dead. That wouldn't have happened. It wasn't very realistic.
Yeah, but you have to admit, though, the comedy that they did was rather well done.
Yep.
They didn't just stick with the slapstick, you know, like the whacking and the records.
Right.
They also incorporated some well-scripted comedy, you know, like the joke about, you know, so-and-so always wanted to be with the other one. Like, you get invested in these characters, and then you realize they all have a backstory, and you kind of get privy to that, and it becomes a joke in itself. So, I mean, it is sophisticated, but it's also dumb, too. I don't know. I think they found a good balance. And they just pull so much together. Zombies, comedy, like, who can do that?
Yeah, and that's what makes it a popcorn movie. I mean, it's just light and breezy, and it doesn't take itself serious, and it's okay to satire. How do you sneak past a gang of zombies? Well, they just kind of go, and they just walk on by, and they just blend right in. That's funny. You know, I hadn't seen that done before. I hadn't seen people trying to sneak by without getting detected, and just by acting kind of zombie-esque.
I have to tell you, the movie has a lot of rewatchability in it. I've seen World War Z twice now, and I really had to struggle through it the second time watching it. Like, had to sit down. But, you know, Shaun of the Dead, I've watched it at least 5 times. So, what else can we really say about Shaun of the Dead? Good movie.
Well, kind of going off of what Kayla was talking about, the other contrast there was The Walking Dead, which is a show that takes itself very serious. And
but we need to cut to a quick break. We'll be right back with our last discussion here, right after a break from Perfect Pets.
She's easygoing and affectionate. Meet Peggy, a 5-year-old American Staffordshire Terrier. This is Hocus, a domestic short-haired tabby mix. She's cute, she's fluffy, she's Hocus. Meet Lexi, an adult pit bull terrier. While she loves to play catch and fetch, she'll find herself leaning against you, asking for attention all the time.
To find out more about adoption for these pets or others, contact the Cooley Region Humane Society at 781-4014.
Once again, the number for the Cooley Region Humane Society is 781-4014. And now back to our last movie that we'd like to talk about, steering away from the comedy. I would like to talk about 28 Days Later, which is a 2002 British film. It's about these researchers, animal activists, that broke into a research lab and released these chimpanzees that have an infection of like a rage virus, which is very contagious even to humans. And then it cuts into this guy, Jim, the main character, who wakes up in the hospital 28 days after the outbreak, after his coma. And then he wanders the streets of London, and it is completely just destroyed, and there's no people, and he does get saved by 2 people and end up hearing a broadcast that gets sent to a military camp that has known to have the answer. But before I give too much away, let's take a look at the trailer.
Hello? I'm hallucinating, or
You never go anywhere alone unless you've got no choice.
What about the government? What are they doing?
There's no government.
Of course there's a government. There's always a government.
Quiet! It's infected.
Open up! Infected with what? Over here! Over here! Hello!
They're dead. And you're gonna be next.
Alright, now I gotta say, that is a good film. I mean, it even has a little bit of romance tied in there, but what do you guys think?
Pretty good movie. Being that it's British, they had
great accents.
Maybe on the accents,
right?
But it really, you could see the British a lot in their in how the soundtrack came together. And it was done in 2002. It's 2014 now. It really dated the movie right off the bat. And when I first saw the movie, I was really pumped about it. But just watching it again recently, there's elements of the movie I like, but that soundtrack, it was hard to fight through the soundtrack of the movie.
I don't know. I didn't mind it at all. I just really enjoyed the whole concept of the corrupt military camp. I don't know. I thought the whole story of that part, like towards the end, was really interesting that I hadn't seen before in a zombie film.
One thing we can hand to 28 Days Later is, with that movie, there's the zombies that they depict in there a lot more realistic as far as you know, it's an infection, and you know, they don't cast the infected as being, you know, impervious to bullets or anything like that, like they do in other zombie movies where you have to get them in the head and stuff. Like, it has that element of realism to it, where this could be a real virus.
Right, and I thought it was interesting because if you watch, well, World War Z and then 28 Days Later, they're like running, like completely running at you.
Yeah,
but then
that's
you
scary.
go watch The Walking Dead and they're just like really slow. Same with Shaun of the Dead, which I guess was supposed to be funny.
Yeah, you know, with the running, it brings a lot of panic and adrenaline to the whole movie, and you know, I think that's something that, you know, the walking type zombies and the Shaun of the Dead, it gets you to take you away from some of that adrenaline portion of the movie and focus on other aspects, the survivalism, the plots between the characters, these sorts of things. So I don't know if I fall on one side of the fence as far as running zombies. I tell you what though, like climbing zombies, terrifying.
Right, that scene in World War Z,
Yeah,
that was great.
For real. I always used to think, you know, if a zombie apocalypse was to happen, like one of the best tools that you could have is an extension ladder.
Or a crossbow.
Or a crossbow, but you take an extension ladder, you can camp out anywhere you want, pull the ladder up, chill out and wait for the zombies to go away while you eat your cans of beans on a roof or something like that.
I can't say I'd do that.
But although, you know, that wouldn't be able to happen in World War Z, you get 24 zombies that start to just ravage and climb up on each other, you know, not a chance. So, yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, what was your favorite part of 28 Days Later?
28 Days Later?
Other than, I know you didn't like the music.
I didn't like the music, but you know, the sort of the apex of the film, when Jim goes on his rampage, I liked the lighting in the cameras, where they made it really dark, so, you know, things were flashing around, so you didn't know what was going on, so you kind of bring that chaos about it. And then also to
Is
add
this
to
when
it,
he
it's
was
really-
saving Selena?
Yeah, this is when he was saving the girls
That
and
is a
going
great
back.
scene.
And yeah, it's kind of raucous, but
Because then she actually almost killed him because they thought that he was
because
infected.
he ended up going nuts on this guy. But you know, how can we talk about all these zombie movies without mentioning The Walking Dead? I'm dressed as Rick Grimes today, paying homage to The Walking Dead series.
But now we can take a look at some related movies.
Yeah, like The Walking Dead.
Well,
one thing I like about The Walking Dead is, you know, the plot is so strong on it that you can actually have, like, main characters just killed off. So it really keeps the audience on the edge of their seat the whole time, because you don't know. It's
right, like in World War Z, Brad Pitt, obviously, getting paid millions, he's not going to die.
Right,
you know that he's going to save the day.
So, yeah, that's one thing about it. But, you know, I feel like The Walking Dead did the same thing for zombies that Anne Rice did for vampires. Like, really just defined the genre.
Yep, very much so.
And so I think it's hard for anybody, any zombie enthusiast, to look at a zombie movie and not compare it to The Walking Dead. I find myself doing it all the time. It used
I have to, because like The Walking Dead, the face makeup and everything is just incredible.
It's set the
like
bar.
how they're like deteriorating like as time goes on.
Yeah.
And I guess you can't really see that in a 2-hour film.
True.
Right, and then what's nice about Walking Dead, I mean, you talk about a 2-hour film. I mean, with Walking Dead, here you have an ongoing situation, you know, every episode, more and more about how deep and deep we can go into this world and their reality and how they cope with it.
So if we were to pick one of our 3 films today, which one do you think would be the best to sit, once you get done trick-or-treating for the night, to sit down and scare your pants off? Which one of our 3 films do you think would be best?
Which of ours or of any Halloween films?
Or maybe any Halloween film.
Hocus Pocus.
Hocus Pocus.
Just kidding. Scary movies. Sinister.
I have not seen Sinister.
Sinister and what is it called? The Conjuring.
Yeah.
Terrifying. Have you seen either?
I have not, no.
Oh my gosh.
Every year at my place we watch A Nightmare Before Christmas And
is that the animated one?
That's the animated one. Sleepy Hollow, also a Tim Burton movie. And last year we did The Shining.
Which one's actually the scariest, you think?
The scariest? I suppose The Shining because it's psychological, and
See, I haven't
it's a
seen
Stephen
that
King
one.
book originally. So, yeah.
I have to, go with the classic, the Freddy Krueger.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's really hard to stomach that movie.
See, I haven't seen
even as an
those.
adult, you watch it as a teenager and it's unsettling. Watch
can
it
do
as
the
an
Freddy
adult,
voice.
it's remains unsettling throughout your life.
Who's that one guy with the mask? What movie is that in?
Jason, Friday the 13th with the hockey
Oh,
mask.
is that the, okay.
Yeah, right. Now, he was a zombie. After part 6, he became a zombie. Jason lives when he came back from the grave.
That's
Then,
awesome.
then there was Jason versus Freddy, and
Yes.
I was actually rooting for Freddy, and
Yeah.
Freddy beat Jason. So
Yeah, that's right.
So were these two
sorry about
movies
any
that were brought
spoiling.
together?
They were.
Okay.
It's kind of a franchise.
Yep. Yep. New Line Cinema bought the rights from Paramount to do the Freddy Jason mashup, and I don't know, it was comedic and it was fun.
Are there any zombie movies that you wish you could have talked about today that we didn't cover?
Zombieland.
Zombieland? That is a very good one,
Zombieland.
Zombieland. When it comes up to the zombie comedies, it's Shaun of the Dead and Zombieland.
Absolutely.
And, you went with Shaun of the Dead. I've watched it a bunch of times. I love the movie. But if I was to pick the comedy, it would definitely be Zombieland. It's new, it's fresh, and a lot of big stars in the movie, too.
All right.
So
Yep, and it's all about getting Twinkies.
it's all about getting Twinkies. And did you know that Twinkies actually do expire?
I did not know that.
They do expire. I
That's
think they mentioned that in the film.
That's a little disconcerting.
Yeah, what are you going to do? You're going to have to come up with your own recipe and make...
I guess I don't know any other zombie films, but now in theaters.
In theaters, we have Ouija, Furry, as they would say between two ferns, John Wick, Gone Girl, The Best of Me, and The Book of Life.
I don't know if I'd really want to see any of those. But coming soon, we have The Hunger Games, The Mockingjay Part 1, Interstellar, Big Hero 6, and Dumb and Dumber 2.
And new on DVD, Step Up, All In, Snowpiercer, Good People, Plastic, Life of Crime, Begin Again.
And here at the Riv, we have The Equalizer, Guardians of the Galaxy, Fort McCoy, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Well, I've been reading about Fort McCoy, and that's loosely based on a World War II story and partially inspired by the Fort McCoy here in Wisconsin. And it's been, I think it was shot about 4 years ago, and it's been in a can ever since. It's been having a hard time getting distributed, so it should be interesting to see that kind of World War II movie. Also, Guardians of the Galaxy, have either of you seen it?
I have not.
I haven't seen Guardians of the Galaxy, but I tell you the one I'm really itching to see is the
TMNT.
new
Yes.
Teenage Mutant Ninja
There you
Turtles.
go.
It was a hallmark of my childhood. I got 3 brothers, so I was always Leonardo, and we all had our specific Ninja Turtle that we'd emulate. And it looks like they really changed things up with this new Ninja Turtle movie, so I got to get out there and see it.
They did. I would like to see it, but I don't know. I prefer like the typical like 90s, late 80s animation.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I'm kind of stuck with that. Once I see everything like all HD, it's just kind of like it takes that away from me.
Yeah, I miss the traditional 2D.
Right.
Yeah, like Beauty and the Beast was wonderful, stuff like that.
Yeah, but I have to admit, I was disappointed when Ninja Turtles went from animated to the foam costumes in the live-action films.
That was
but I
terrible.
think, this latest movie coming out, it looks like they did a much better job with the costumes.
Is this
on
the
it.
first one that they have animated like that?
Yes. Well,
Or
this
made like that?
newest styling that they're going with.
Okay.
So
It's a reboot.
yeah. So I don't know. Gives them a fresh start. So, but that'll be all for the screening room today. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.